Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report. Pretty good run of cattle for this time of year. I think the dry weather has brought some cattle to town. We got some calves in that were probably normally sold a month or so from now, but the conditions are so dry they just had to get them off their cows and try to help those cows mend up. But they're talking like we may get some rain this weekend, so that would be good. We had 1,100 and something head there Monday and close to 800 on Tuesday, and cows still 30% of the volume is slaughter classes. It's still higher than normal, and again, dry weather conditions may have brought some of those cows to town. We saw some young cows in here that were thin and probably just kind of out of grass, and they had to get rid of them. But they sold pretty good. They were young and thin, and people were buying them to try to put some weight on them, maybe keep them or resell them later when they get fatter. And the calves held their prices pretty good in light of the cattle on feed report Friday being really bearish. Of course, we all knew that there were a ton of cattle on feed. I think the highest number reported since they've been keeping the numbers is what I heard. So cattle on feed was real high. The placements were high, and marketings were a little bit under what was the estimate. So it was a very bearish report for the futures market. But the cash market, fat cattle market, they've added $1 or $2 on the fat cattle, which is going to have to happen because there's no way these cattle are going to come out of the feedlots making any money at $8 a bushel corn. Cost of gain now, I've looked at some of the things that I've read. It looks like cost of gain could be $1.40 to $1.50 a pound, which is crazy. And if you're only getting $1.43 when you sell them, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, the fat cattle, they're at the end of the deal, and they're not eating any more feed because they're going to be sold and processed into beef. So any time the grains go up and the feeder cattle go down, it seems to bring the fat cattle market down with it, which really doesn't compute, but that's the way it goes. We're still seeing some 500-pound calves here bringing up in the 170s, really close to 180. 600-pound calves are bringing this week a little bit lower, probably in the 120s. The 4-weight calves are bringing probably about $1.80, close to it, and that's on the number one quality steer calves. And bull calves are going to be about 10 cents a pound off of those good steer calves. As we're speaking right now, the House Ag Committee is meeting on the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act and the Packers and Stockyard Investigation Act, which would add another layer of Packers and Stockyard accountability towards the packers under their rules that were brought about in 1921 and a little bit outdated, so they're trying to revamp and give P&S a little bit more power and authority. There's controversy whether there needs to be another layer of government involved. Packers and Stockyard Administration is a huge organization or administration that's in charge of fair price, fair competition, and making sure business is done on the up and up when it comes to Packers and Stockyards. Of course, we're a stockyard. We're regulated by Packers and Stockyards, so we know who they are. We turn our audit in every year. We have to account for the custodial account, where when you bring cattle, you get paid out of the custodial account, and we account for every penny of it. They come in and make sure that the books are straight and square, and that's how it goes. So it's good to keep everybody honest and business going the way it should go, and that's the way it is here at our livestock market. And I'm sure they check on all the other livestock markets across the country too. But why aren't they? Well, they are investigating the packers, but why aren't they regulating the packer? Why are they able to control and manipulate and price gouge the way they do? They're buying cattle for pennies on the dollar compared to what the retail beef is being sold for. So I'll get off my bandwagon. But anyway, the House Ag Committee right now, they're hearing testimony from producers and from USDA administrators, and they're trying to figure out if the Cattle Price Discovery Act is in fact something that we need. Some of the testimony I heard yesterday in the Senate Ag Committee, it just seemed like overwhelming support. The bottom line, as I heard it, was something has to be done. If we don't do anything, we know what will happen. If we keep going down the same road, nothing will change. You know, there's some debate, of course, both sides, some oppose and some for these bills that are being introduced, but it seemed to me that there was more support for something being done. And maybe this isn't the silver bullet, is the word they used many times in testimony yesterday, and it's a very complex situation. But if we don't do anything, we know we're going to end up. So I think looked like to me the Senate Ag Committee was in favor of these bills, and the House Ag Committee is ongoing right now. And there are producers, and the NCBA president is giving testimony there today, and also the Big Four are in this hearing also. So you'll get to hear all that. If you want to go to it, just tune on House Ag Committee hearing. You can Google that, and it'll take you straight to it, and you can watch that testimony. It'll go on probably for a couple hours, but you can just click it to stop it and come back later, and you can catch right up where you left off. But anyway, it's very interesting, and this is our industry. If you're in the cattle business and you're a cattle producer, you're not in the beef business, you are a cattle producer, and we have to look out for our prices and what we're getting to stay in business. And we're not talking about beef, we're talking about cattle production. And so these are measures and bills that have been introduced to hopefully help keep everybody in business and distribute some of that profits back down the line to the people that are doing the work. So that's going on now, and we'll see what happens. But so far, from what I've read, it looks like there's plenty enough support for these bills to pass. So let's hope that something does happen. So high prices today for this week were H. Parton from St. Cloud had a little calf that weighed 180 pounds that brought $2.25, bought by DNS. And the slaughter cow high price for the week was 711 Ranch from Kenansville, had a 1,400 pound cow that brought 94 cents, bought by Florida Beef. That's your market report. Thank you.